Hello everyone, this is Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. It's Sunday here in Australia and would be Saturday or the early hours of Sunday where you are. I wanted to look at Rod Rosenstein. I've done a few videos on Rosenstein or a few readings, one going back sometime just before the midterm. Actually showed a meeting between he and Trump where he actually gave something, he yielded something or capitulated in order at the time, I felt, to protect the Mueller investigation. Now, as we know, his benefits, etc., were tied up in another fund, so it's not as if he was going to lose his benefits if he got the sack. We know now from media reporting, it may or may not be true, that he didn't want to be sacked via a tweet. I'm getting that Rosenstein is essentially, I'm feeling that he's essentially honourable, but I'm mystified as to why he's covering for or throwing cover for Trump and Barr, particularly when he wouldn't need to. He could have just remained in the background a little bit and then gone out. So what's the leverage here? I feel that there's some leverage over him, and I'm not sure what it is. So that's what I want to read on. I do feel that most of his actions, he interned under Mueller when he was a young lawyer. I've gone back and had a good look at his background because I didn't know that before. And I do believe, he's got quite a distinguished I guess, record as a lawyer, and he's won awards, and he's been at the front there, so he's quite distinguished in many ways. And why he would again support something that William Barr has done, do that as their world's so insular in the DOJ that they don't understand or connect with the actual mood or what's going on outside of the DOJ's walls, if you like. Are they so caught up in what they're doing that they don't understand the ramifications here? I do believe that he felt what he was doing was right in throwing his lot in or leaning into what Barr and Trump were trying to accomplish. I still don't think that it's done him any favours, but let's see what the reading can show us. I don't feel he interfered with the Mueller investigation, but we can ask that in our questions. So what's fallen out here is the Ten of Coins here. This is around his family. So it's interesting, our motivations. I'll just bring the laptop down here. Our motivations sometimes, this comes forward as the Suite of Pentacles. This is not saying Rosenstein was bought off, but I just want to leave that card there because I think there's an understanding that we'll get to a bit later on in this reading. So did he interfere? Did Rosenstein interfere in the Mueller investigation at all? Did Rosenstein interfere in the Mueller investigation at all? Okay, so the sun here, we've got illumination. It's interesting. Let's keep going. The Palace of Coins here, again, we're getting this focus on money here and family. What is this about? The Four of Cups, disappointed. It's seeming to bring forward some kind of disappointment here in relation to, I feel it's his position in society. And there is something that we don't know about. Okay, there is something here that we don't know about. There's more on this story than what meets the eyes. I do feel that in some way he might have been threatened. Our question was, did he interfere with the Mueller report? No, I don't think he did. But I do feel that he was compromised in some way. And I don't feel it's through money. I feel it's through something else, possibly his life after the DOJ. Was he promised a position? I'm not sure. The Emperor, it looks like obviously this is Trump. It's coming straight underneath the Palace of Coins. I just want to say about this deck that I'm using. It's called the Tarot of Dreams by Cairo Marchetti. I'm just getting used to it. It contains all the major and minor arcana, but it also contains 4 extra cards, which are really representing environments. And so what this Palace of Coins is telling me is that there is money in this environment. This is Donald Trump and money. Did he interfere with the Mueller? Okay, all right, okay. I know what it's telling me before I even pull the last card. In that meeting, did he interfere with the Mueller report? Okay, this isn't talking about Rosenstein being compromised, although I do feel that that post DOJ, he was concerned about how he would be, how he would go forward in terms of his status, his position as as the former Deputy Attorney General. He's built a really solid reputation and career here. So I do feel he was concerned about following the line and being impartial, but also when I said leaning into Barr and Trump, not getting them too far offside as well. But what this reading is telling me, when it brought the 10 of Coins up, which is the card of dynastic wealth, money, the Trump organization. This is a new deck, so it's I'm getting there. When you read with a new deck, there are pros and cons, but the pro here is that you can get additional information from it. The con here is that you've got to reorientate with the archetypes that this particular tarot deck is bringing forward. But the first card out that jumped out was the 10 of Pentacles. Did he interfere in the Mueller investigation? There is a question mark around why Mueller wasn't allowed to follow the money, and I feel that is where the influence came in from the DOJ to Mueller. He was unable to illuminate the money trail here because he was stopped. And I do feel that was the capitulation to protect the Mueller report. And that is, do not touch my family's wealth. Here is the Emperor card. Do not investigate the Trump organization as part of these terms of reference. They are not a part of the of Mueller's mandate, and you mustn't go there. And I do feel this is Rosenstein agreed to that. There is much more on this story to come out. Journalists are going to plug away, and I do want to. I know Rosenstein took a real stab at the American press in a speech, and I do feel that this is coming out of fear. He does not. This is the thing that he does not want uncovered. He does not want people to know that Trump actually asked him to pull Mueller away from following the money, from investigating the Trump organization. But I do believe that Mueller handed these investigations off. And so that's why they're not in his report. So Mueller was quite clever. He was not going to ignore where he saw that the law was broken. He handed these investigations off, which is why you can look to these further investigations to understand that the Trump organization and potentially following the money is actually going to come up in these other investigations. But Rosenstein was able to assure Trump that the actual Mueller report wouldn't dig into the Trump organization or the money news, if you like. And this is the big sleeper issue here, is the money news, which is why it's always coming up in my tarot readings. There is a lot more that we need to know. There's a lot more to this story than we currently understand. He was in some way giving the Emperor what he wanted, giving Trump what he wanted, the Palace of Coins. The environment around was Trump's money, Trump's wealth. The Emperor said hands off, and Rosenstein somehow decided, and I do feel his decision was based lawfully, and Mueller as well, that this is, potentially what Rosenstein, this is why he's attacking the press, because it's going to look quite bad for him. But I do feel I'm not going to be as harsh on Rosenstein as what I feel others are being. I feel he acted within the law, and I feel that history will show that he did what he did to act within the law. What I can't understand, because Mueller found a way. Mueller found a way through handing off these investigations. Rosenstein was, I want to just remark on the atmosphere that Rosenstein was embroiled in throughout 2017 and 2018. He was isolated. This was the biggest pressure he'd ever faced in his career. He had a Republican Senate, a Republican House. He is a Republican, although that didn't come into his factor as far as I can see during the Mueller investigation. He was. This is why he's restating that the law is beyond Democrats or Republicans. He's restating all of these things because he knows that he's now creating the quotes that will follow him down the path now that he moves away from the DOJ. But I do feel that he was restricted throughout all of that time. He was under so much pressure. He was disappointed by those around him, because I'm getting the Four of Cups here. Very disappointed in what he saw and the machinations that, potentially moved beyond the law, but he was very restricted in what he could do. But he did actually stop. According to my cards and my impressions, these are tarot cards, he did actually stop Mueller from going further into the Trump organization and the Trump money. What is hidden from our view is the Fool card here, and I'm not thinking that this is new beginnings here. I'm feeling that in some way, Rosenstein is going to come in for quite heavy criticism as a result of that decision. So let's ask. I'll bring the laptop down the next reading. It's just that that information came through so strongly in that reading. Let me just give these cards a little bit of a shuffle. So I don't think it's as simple as saying Rosenstein's a turncoat or Rosenstein's corrupt. I don't think that's it at all. I feel that he did what he had to do because of the restrictions that he was under, and I do feel that he was isolated, that he could not, he had no support from anyone really around him. If you think about Whitaker, and if you think about Barr, and if you think about those that Trump brought in, and Trump himself, and the Republican Senate and the Republican House, at that time he was the only thing standing between the Mueller investigation and Donald Trump obstructing justice. So I do feel that if history judges him, they need to judge him from that standpoint. So was Rosenstein... Let me just go again. Was Rod Rosenstein compromised? Was Rosenstein compromised? Was Rosenstein compromised? It depends on your definition of compromise. That's what I'm hearing. That objectively, no, he wasn't. Was Rod Rosenstein compromised? 3 cards. Was Rosenstein compromised? Okay, no, he was isolated, which is what I have just been talking about. He was absolutely isolated. The only thing standing between the Mueller investigation and a president and Senate and House that would have done anything to stop the Mueller investigation. The Queen of Wands, no, this is generally a card that comes forward when someone is acting with pretty good intentions. I'm not seeing that Rosenstein was compromised, and I've got the 2 of Cups here, so this is talking about unity and what is hidden from our view. Yeah, the 10 of Swords. He was on a knife's edge the entire time that he was overseeing that report. So, you put yourself in that position. He's not a Preet Bharara, is it? He's not a Sally Yates. He's not that type of personality. He followed the law. Now, all of that is reasonably understandable to any right-thinking person. We can say he did a lot a lot. He kept that investigation going. The Mueller report undoubtedly will end the Trump presidency. We know that. We understand that he may have capitulated in order to keep the investigation going. But when I say capitulated, he read the law in a particular way. He didn't do anything unlawful. Not that I can see in these cards. What I can't understand, viewers, what I can't understand is why did he sign on to Barr's summary when he knew so much in that report talked about obstruction of justice? Did he feel that it was his duty as a Deputy Attorney General to be, to do that, to lean into what Barr and Trump were doing? Why did he do that? Because I am mystified. Why did Rosenstein support Barr, support Trump's handling of the Mueller report in the way that he did? He signed it, he signed the Barr's summary, he stood there with his deadpan impression in that speech that he has. Sorry, I'll just get rid of this. I'll just get rid of that, sorry, that phone call. So where was I? Back to why did he allow himself to be compromised? Why did he allow himself to be compromised in that way? Why did he do it? Why did he sign? Why did he support? What made him do it? Okay, so we've got the High Priestess. There is something that we don't know about yet. Is he ever going to tell us? There's something here that made him, what I'm going to say, capitulate. That I don't. I'm unclear now. Let's see what the tarot reading will bring forward. There's the High Priestess. There's secrets here. There's a lot more to this story than what we know. He was challenged by commerce and expansion. Now, this is interesting. This is generally my Russian card. I asked at the beginning of this reading, was he threatened in any way? The Queen of Swords is the foundation of the reading. This is analysis. This is someone who is able to cut through. This is actually a very good talker. Who is this Queen of Swords? There's something here that we don't know about. Okay, the Fool card comes up again. The Fool is generally new beginnings. Was he threatened in some way? That's the vibe I'm getting. I'm getting the Six of Coins here. Loans and debts, giving and receiving help. Was he, basically told, if you don't do this, apart from the Mueller probe being wound up, because I do feel that he protected the Mueller probe, but in the way that he left the DOJ, was he trying to protect his future, I won't say career, but future legacy, future status? It's talking about being exiled, left out. Okay, so he would receive no help from the DOJ, no help from the Republican, the Republican Party, the Republican machinery. There's also something here that, Rosenstein was a victim, is what this reading is telling me in some way. And at the moment, it's almost like he is the hanged man, or he was stopped, or he is stopped, and he won't be able to go forward nor back. This is also self-sacrifice as well. And the environment around is talking about, it could be talking about his family. Yeah, it's emotions here. The hopes and the fears. It's his home. It's his where he lives. It's his relationships with his family. And we've got the Magician card here. Now, I'm not sure whether this is Rosenstein being the magician, or whether there has been some dirty tricks played upon Rosenstein, or both. We're talking about, these aren't very good cards, I'm afraid. This is talking about a master magician, and it's talking about endings. And something, Rosenstein's going to be judged for this. There's something here we don't know. And the Two of Swords is talking about Rosenstein being under incredible pressure and having to compromise in some way. So, wow. Okay, so there's much more to come out on this than what we actually know. Now, the High Priestess is the signifier card, and the quote here on this particular tarot deck is, "Darkness into darkness, the key to all mystery." Darkness into darkness, the key to all mystery. Something's in the dark here that we don't know. The challenge to that coming out is some kind of secret being buried. Was there some kind of information there that didn't in the Mueller report that wasn't allowed to come forward? I'm not clear. This is talking about words and communications, and we're talking about giving and receiving help. And we're talking about Rosenstein actually being the victim now, or being left out in the cold. The question, why did he lean into, why did he support Barr? Yeah, look, there's not something. There's something here. I'm just going to say that there's something here that I'm not able to get to. It's talking about the magician coming forward. This is someone who is can be the trickster here, but someone who's quite powerful, pulling the strings, the puppeteer. And we've got the death card as well, which is endings, something having to end, and the judgment call. There's some action that has occurred. I'm not saying it's an unlawful action, where he gave Barr the help that he needed. He threw cover, if you like, for Trump, or is throwing cover because of something that we don't know about yet. And so the obvious thing would be he was threatened in some way, or he was bought off. I mean, that's, to be honest, they're the two things here. I don't understand it. There's something, as I said, I'm mystified as to why that would occur. The Page of Cups is talking about a young person. I'm just going to ask, was he threatened? 3 cards. Was Rosenstein or his family threatened in some way? Rosenstein threatened. I feel he's doing this to throw cover, particularly attacking the press too. There are things here that occurred with the Mueller report. He doesn't want too many people digging around in here. I'm not talking about anything unlawful. I'm talking about holding his actions up to judgment. Was he threatened? Was he threatened in any way? Okay, I'm talking his financial security. I know that his benefits were tied up in a different fund. That unlike poor Andrew McCabe, he didn't lose his benefits. Well, at least I'm pretty sure that was the case. But there's talking about financial insecurity here. 3 cards. The King of Swords. This is somebody who has the power to wield a sword. And I'm talking, and there's also the Page of Swords as well, which is prizing open the truth. What's hidden from our view? Yeah, secrets. There could be something here to do with his financial security. Was he threatened in any way? Seems to be a threat here to his security. I think it's financial security. And I'm just going to ask, was he bought off? Because, my feeling is he wasn't. My feeling is there was incredible pressure put on him. The story's yet to emerge. Was he bought off? Was Rosenstein bought off? 3 cards. Was Rosenstein bought off? I'm feeling no, he wasn't, but was Rosenstein bought off? Okay, the Queen of Wands is generally a benign card. This is someone who is using their intuition, someone who's operating behind the scenes with an actual good intent. I'm getting the 8 of coins here, which is talking about his work here, the money earned through his career, through his work. The 8 of coins. and I'm getting strength and endurance. So no, he wasn't bought off, but I do feel there was a threat to his financial security in some way. And the Four of Cups, he was disappointed. Now I'm just wondering about his benefits. I will need to do some research. In some way, his financial security was threatened. He was disappointed with it, and he didn't do anything unlawful. No, he didn't. He was threatened, I feel. Threatened with being left out in the cold, which would have affected his financial security, but he stayed within the law. And I'm just going to finish with one last question. Did Rosenstein protect the Mueller report? Because I feel that that's what he did do. At the end of the day, he'll be judged. He won't be judged that harshly for his actions. He acted within the law, and this is the battle for Rosenstein, to get people to understand that, and to understand that he was the one that appointed the special counsel and stood in that breach, stood in that fire, that over 2 years to keep the Mueller report going, when the Senate, the House, and Trump stood there over him. So did he protect the Mueller report? Did he protect the Mueller report? Essentially, generally, did he protect the Mueller report? I'm saying that yes, he did within the law. Okay, here we go. Someone working behind the scenes generally, has a decent. Actually, let's just start those. I need to actually shuffle a little bit better. Those I don't want to bring up the same cards. And I think this is an important question here. Did Rosenstein protect the Mueller report? Actually, I probably should have kept that going, because if that same card came out, it would have that was our message. But either way, let's have another go. Sometimes these same cards will come out again despite the reshuffling. So did he protect? Okay, the King of Wands is the top dog, the bold leader, and it is also someone that has to have courage and has to persist. They are the two qualities of the King of Wands. It's generally a lawman, a law person, a lawyer, someone who has legal authority, and it is talking about courage and persistence. So I'm getting the message: don't judge Rosenstein too harshly, because he will be. This is the swords in his back. This is the painful endings for him, and this is talking about. He has to, his place in society. This is talking about his home. He stayed within the law, and the Ace of Cups is a yes. He did is a yes card. This is new starts, new emotional starts, new partnerships, new ways of doing things. And I do feel that despite. We can judge quite harshly if we want, but I do feel that at the end of the day, it will be seen that he did protect the Mueller report, despite what's come out, these readings, and I do feel he's going to really experience a dark night of the soul now, and I don't know that he absolutely deserves that. So I'm going to leave that reading there. It was quite full on and quite quick, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll be back again with another reading. Thank you.